You get something of value appraised. That usually carries a lot of weight, especially when it's the most valuable thing you will ever own, your house. Real estate expert Rick Sadle with Keller Williams Realty and SadleRealEstate.com is with us. Rick, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So last week we were talking about assessed value and appraised value. It's complicated, yeah, but we know assessed value is for property taxes. And we wanted to dig into appraised value just a little bit more. Exactly what is that, or are there a couple of meanings?
Well, appraised value is the process for trying to determine a value. More specifically, it's trying to support a value that a buyer might pay for something. Now, in the case of real estate, it's the bank trying to determine if they should lend money on something. We've talked before that the only real way of determining value is to see what a willing buyer will pay for something. And what they pay is obviously market value. Now, since the bank is not actually buying the house, what they try and do is use historical sales data to see if they're safe lending money on something. That way, if the buyer defaults, the odds are good that they can take the house back and sell it and get their money back. It's a pretty imperfect system. Market value can change based on, so many factors, like did the economy crash in the meantime? But it just helps give the bank some statistical security.
Yeah, I'm sitting here nodding, Rick, because I'm familiar with this. The home buying process, somewhere between qualifying for a mortgage and closing, that appraisal comes in, and it is pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah, it can make or break a deal, right? If the appraisal is done and the value comes back too low, the bank could decide, hey, you know what, I'm not going to do that loan. And then the sale falls apart and the buyer has to go away and try and find a different house, right? If the value comes in high, then the bank feels secure in making that loan. So really, it's like the key moment in a real estate transaction.
Fascinating. And assessed value. Now, this is a number that comes from a licensed appraiser, and then comparative market analysis or CMA performed by a licensed real estate agent. How are those things different, and what should homeowners be thinking about here?
Yeah, well, let's call it appraised value, not assessed, because assessed feels like taxes, right? But
Thank you.
appraised value is what an appraiser determines, right? It's when the appraiser takes historical sales data and tries to support a value. So, for example, if the house is selling for $500,000, the appraisal will look at similar sales in an area to determine if $500,000 sales price is reasonable. Now, a comparative market analysis is where a real estate agent will look at the sales in an area, combine that with what the market conditions are and also what kind of competition there is for the area. And they come up with a strategic price for the property to maximize the value for the seller. So there are definitely different processes. So if a home seller is trying to figure out what to sell for, the CMA is probably best, the comparative market analysis, right? The appraiser, not so much because they're just trying to support a specific value. The agent is trying to come up with a strategic sales price.
Let's just go back to value. Let's call it value. And what is someone willing to pay for it? That's what it's worth.
That's exactly correct. In any market, real estate, gold,
Yep.
computers, right? Well, you can only sell something if a buyer's willing to pay that price for it.
That's it. Art, comic books, cars, or
Right, exactly.
all right. Rick, excellent stuff. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks.
That is Rick Sadle, real estate expert with Keller Williams Realty and SadleRealEstate.com.